Bracket racing isn't just what we do, it's who we are. It's how we identify ourselves.
What does bracket racing mean to me? It's my life. It's where my people are. My idols, my family, my friends.
Bracket racing is life. Bracket life. Hello and welcome back to the Bracket Life broadcast after a long, Andrew, 5-week off period for a little bit. A lot going on after, a lot of stuff happened after the race season, right? I guess you were still racing till 2 weeks ago, right?
Give
or take week and a bit
ago, I guess.
Yeah. So that's all right. So yeah, it's been a little while since we've been on here hanging out, but. Glad to be back. We got some spooky Halloween music starting us off. It was pretty neat. It's a neat option, and so I like it.
Got it very appropriate, right? So
yeah, exactly. I saw the Halloween options when I'm on here. I'm like, holy frick, it's already the 28th. But yeah, that's all good. Great to be back, Andrew. Before we dive right deep into the show, all things Canadian drag racing, some points results, a couple race results, and things like that. Want to be sure we thank our sponsor. For tonight, pro1safety.ca. I've got the website up right here. Check out all the good stuff as we obviously head into the off season. We're going to get ready for moving into 2026. Seatbelts, jackets, pants, boots, gloves, driver suits, helmets, arm restraints. That's what I want to get. I want to get more arm restraints. When you switch cars, some of our cars have them built in. Some are built on everybody's fire suits. So need more arm restraints. Mark that down. And some cool apparel.
Oh, yeah.
Some cool shirts, cool hats, stuff like that. And then the Pro 1 stuff also goes along with the Octane Performance stuff as well. So yeah, lots of great stuff there. And check them all out. Lots of people you can reach out to. Jay Bellew in the Quebec area, whatever, Eastern Ontario. Jason McNeil in the Maritimes, Travis Ringeth out west, and Jonathan DeVries, Southern Ontario area. Your main contacts there, but shoot us a message. I'm sure you reach out to any of those folks. We'll get you set up. pro1safety.ca. Check that out as well. So let's dive into the Canadian Countdown, Andrew. We got some races from a little bit ago, I guess at the start of the month, but
23, 25 days ago, thereabouts. So we're
give or take
the highlights.
That's it.
So kick off with the 660 Sportsman Nationals at Grand Bend. A race that Saturday morning I got to take over announcing for. So that was my professional announcing debut. But up to that point, I was crew chiefing. So Friday the box.
And doing a fine job. I believe you, based on the results you'll get to, you did a fine job crew chiefing and in the tower.
I appreciate that. I wasn't sure where you were going with that one because one of them was a fine job. I'm not sure if both were, but we'll see as we go through it. Box, no box combo to kick things off on Friday, which is the warm-up race. Nathan Hoskin over Jay Talbot. Jay rolling on the no box side. You'll see the Talbot name a few different times over this. Shocking, as we've pointed out multiple other times in broadcast. Junior Dragster warm-up race. Nevaeh Gomes with the win. The no box $5,000 32-car shootout. Kevin Stittle over Tim Bly. That's kind of his thing. Shootouts in the 660 series. He's had great results. He's been down to 4, won a couple. Kevin got the best of him that night. And then the highlight of my night before I got the announcing job, the $10,000 box shootouts. My brother Ian Sturck taking the W over Belleville's Al Ray. The two fast door cars in the 32-car shootout managed to get on opposite sides of the ladder, and boom, we have final round.
That was a really cool deal. When I did hear about that and whatnot, I'm like, it's neat. You don't very, very well get to see in a shootout race like that, a box race or Super Pro, whatever you want to call it, that it's two fast door cars, right, that get through to the final. And like, they're not 450 door cars, but these are low 5-second door cars. Like, they're moving, and we're in the start of October, so it's cold.
Yeah.
We're doing this later at night, right? Most of this racing's in the dark. You can't see much out of those race cars. No, cool deal, right? Great final.
And it worked fantastic. The cars were on kill. Al was making great runs. The final four actually was another eclectic mix. So it was Ian, Kevin Knight, and Kevin's fast car, which I believe is going 440s. He has two dragsters. And then Jamie Champ was the other semifinalist going 690s.
So the exact opposite.
The exact opposite of what the other two cars. So great win for Ian. It was his first big check win. I'm taking an extra moment just because it was a special win. It was first time his son Ryan came to the track. So kid's kind of spoiled now. He's 1 for 1, and the only win he's got so far is a 10K check. It's hanging on his wall, not Ian's wall, back at home. So special night for the Sturt clan. Great night for Ian and Ryan. From there, we can kick into the main event, which was Saturday. So box main event, which was a $5-grander. I had the privilege of announcing all of this moving forward. So this one speaks to me a little more. Rodney Gomes over Tyler Chilo, Greg Door-Car final. Tyler had been on a roll. He'd been down. He carried 2 entries deep on the Friday warm-up race, and possibly a few rounds into the main event down to the final, and Rodney picked up the W on it. No box, which was a $2,500 main event. Rob Holden over Jeff Talbot. Not the last Talbot name we're going to talk about here. Junior Dragster, the $1,000 main event was Reese Hamilton over Noah Gomes. The Gomes family had 2 finals on the Saturday. The Saturday Night Gambler, Benny Smith over Jay Talbot, which was a box, no box final. So Jay getting himself into 2 finals. Fortunately, both times the Dragster getting the better of him. But Benny with a great Saturday night, double entered, carried a couple entries deep. Was actually the one that came over the waves and was calling out people for not double entering in that. So we doubled the field on Saturday night, and we managed to take all the money because of that. Saturday night, Junior Gambler, $500. Megan Casson over Levi, Dill, and Sunday. Cool race on Sunday. So the box side, no time trials, just going straight at it. I think we had a couple new entries that rolled in. But all dragster final, Jesse Searson, Carly Duffy. Both that have had a tough year that kind of needed a final round. Jesse starting late in the year because of trying to get things back together and running. Carly and the Duffy team, just from about the longest long weekend on, catastrophic. They lost 2 engines at the World Super Pro Challenge, lost the backup engine, I think, in next week. Managed to get both cars back on the track, and Sunday, Carly led the team down to a finals. Jesse taking the W in the finals. So kind of 2 stories where either winner was going to be a big moment. Only one can win. So great job for the Searsons. Bang up job for the Duffys to recover after just a almost season ending. It should have been for almost anyone else at the point that they had. So great for them. No box, 2,500 main event. This was cool. Craig Washington was, there was a bike category to the no box side and sportsman. Craig takes his bike out of the box or the no box bike side, has to beat his dad to get through there, carries it over to the car side, and then carries it all the way to the final to run up against Tom Artaketh Your Money, which is a credit to Mike Beard, Artakis. Tom carried 2 entries down to, I think, 6. Had to race himself, so lost 1 entry. Carried that one through to the final round. Craig came up big in the final, which also took home an extra $500 bonus as the last bike standing, so a $3,000 payday for him. And Junior Dragster main event, Georgia Pettit took the win over Levi Dill. Family driving back from college, from Ryan's college, who's Georgia's older brother and former Junior Dragster racer, listening online the entire time with one of the devices that I believe Chuck Fram is pioneering around here about broadcasting through the internet. I can't remember the name of the site. It'll come up. Someone will message me, I guess. But, TrackTune. There we go.
That's it.
That's
I got it.
Hard to remember, right? But that was kind of fun doing that in live for them as I knew that was running. So that's the 660s. From there, we can jump into points championships. It is time of year. We got points champions all over the place. Finals are set. Some world finals have taken place. We got one coming up, but Super Tour points wise, Super Pro overall winner. Not sure if you know this dude, but Brandon Barker, kind of a decent guy, right? Takes the overall points championship, which is also the Dragster championship. So congrats, my friend.
Thank you.
Was, quite the Sunday. at Naperville watching all
It
that
was.
unfold. So yeah.
Indeed. It was a stressful time. They kind of called it. They said that I had won early Sunday, and I'm like, let's not get too comfortable here. Let's make sure something actually worked for us.
This kind of like watching an election night, right? When they call the election at like 9:30, you're like, let's just wait for more stuff to roll out here, right? It's a little early for MSNBC to call the championship just yet.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Did we get to talk about that race day, Andrew? Did we talk about that last time we did the show?
I want to suggest we did because I believe it was in late September. I think it was just after.
Must have been.
I should have gone back and watched that now.
Yeah.
My apologies.
But either way, you're right. We did have a good Sunday, and we did get raced in the finals together.
We did.
Yeah,
Great picture.
yeah.
I love that picture.
It
My
was.
final year-end post, I think it's in there too, maybe. But
It is, yeah. Yep.
So on the Super Pro Dorkar side, Team Lento picking up the W there. They have the Dorkar champions for 2025. Semi-Pro, Stefan Ballantyne. I'm not sure how many that's been for him now.
That's actually his first tour win.
So Lustville.
Then he's got a bunch. His first Super Tour win, he was second, I believe, 3 times.
Ooh, wow.
And then has been top 5 almost every other year.
Yeah.
Right, but I believe he was. That's what I had read that he was second 3 times in the Super Tour, and it all came together for him this year.
Super Tour is because every time I made it to Luskville, if he wasn't in a final, and goes to show how tough it is to win that championship. So congrats to them on their first. Not winning their first, Parker Sagan, back-to-back championships on the Super Tour in the Junior Dragster class. So congratulations to them. NHRA Canadian National Open Championship. So while we were in Naperville competing for various wins and championships, the National Open was at Cayuga, crowning their champions for both the day and the champion series. In the series stock, super stock combo, Mike Ingram with the championship. Super gas, Eric Stroud. Super comp, hey, there's a guy, Brandon Barker. Wins a championship in 2 tracks on the same day, and is only at one of them. So was able to hold out on the points lead to be able to win the championship while he was busy winning a championship at another track. So congrats, buddy. That's I don't know if you want a moment to speak about the Super Comp, your inaugural season, and you're taking home a championship in that end.
That's it. We'll hit it. We'll recap that after. We'll go over all that stuff when we talk about kind of our season recaps and kind of our goals. But it was cool. And I think I undersold how much I didn't believe how much I would really enjoy Super Comp. It's a lot of fun. So we'll hit on that after. But absolutely, it's a lot of fun, and very fortunate that it worked out that way. Because then, right, same as anything, right? If you get in and then you suck at it, then you're going to be like, this is dumb, right? But then
it's dumber than I thought it was.
Yeah. You have a little bit of success and it kind of rolls all together. So it was really cool. So definitely can't complain.
No, perfect. We will touch more on that then, because I'm looking forward to diving into that. Huge part. Super Street, Mike Reynolds taking home the championship. Top dragster, top sportsman combo. Pam Rennie.
Absolutely.
The championship win. Congratulations to Pam. There's some choice words I could say to her that she said to me about some of my W's, but this is a PG-friendly show, so we can't say too much. Junior dragster, Carter McLean with the win, and Brandon Satchel going back-to-back in the ET bike and sled class. So congratulations to Brandon. From there, we'll let you pick it up there to RCSS.
That's it. We got some RCSS points championships that have been officially decided. Lots of action there. Vinyl window designs. I believe is Brandon Furstel's a junior sportsman.
Quick sportsman.
Quick sportsman. Yeah. Brandon Furstel. Yep. Sorry, we missed that. We got the vinyl window designs. We missed the quick sportsman in there. Brandon Furstel getting the championship there. Super Pro Casey Kovacs taking that down. He was dominant all year long. I remember there's always a bunch of results from Casey getting it done. Modified. Good friend, Dan Pepper. Great guy. Great racer. Always had a lot of success when he came to our Winter Rumble practice tree events. So cool to see Dan taking his talents to the racetrack. He's a bad dude. Just hitting the tree in general. It's modified, so there's no delay box, but either way, apparently he can let go.
He did that on the foot brake car.
Ooh,
So
good for
he has
him.
a foot brake Camaro, and then he has the trans brake Camaro, which is like the 5-second car. When he's at Cayuga running his cars, it's modified in foot brake. So he takes the foot brake only car.
Nice.
That is a foot brake car in a box, no box.
In a no box class. Wow. Good for Dan. That's even more impressive. So you can let go on the top, bottom, and swap feet. So Dan Pepper's all right. That's yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
He's not
yeah,
bad.
absolutely. Bike sled, Mike Konopacki taking it down still, and you're staying dominant, right? Bike sled, almost anything. Konopacki's got it dialed in, so great for him. We'll talk more about him as he is, I believe, I would say on the road right now, if not already in Vegas. But we'll hit that.
Should be not halfway, almost there.
Yeah. Foot brake, Tony Valerio with the championship. Brandon Whitfield wins street. Juniors, Jack Snell. And then Outlaw Fast 16 shootout, Tim Knight getting it done. That rounds out the RCSS points championships for 2025. We'll roll over to St. Thomas. Top and Mod, a double championship at St. Thomas. I believe did he do the same thing last year?
No, I think he came up short on the one, but it's kind of hard to tell. Drew's generally 1 or 2 almost every year. So
in both classes. In both classes, yeah.
Yes.
So there you go. Drew Buckner, winner, champion in top, champion in mod for St. Thomas. Bike sled, Dorchina, nicely.
I saw that name. So Clayton Nicely is one of the bike sled racers I've seen. I didn't quite know if that was just a wrong name on the point sheet because we got off the St. Thomas sheet.
Yeah.
But the Nicely family, because I'm assuming there's more than one, if this is right, with the championship.
There you go. There we go. We do have an update. Harry Olsen's got us. Mike is in Vegas for a couple days now, so Konopacki's there, right? I imagine that Harry's on his way here sometime soon. Not yet, as he's watching us, but I imagine soon. 650 class, Dave Cooper with the championship. Emma Pinlow with the championship for juniors. I saw a bunch of posts this year. I seen that was the only results I ever saw from St. Thomas was Emma winning almost every weekend. I recall that for sure. Sportsman Eddie Adams gets that done. Congratulations to all those winners. Another great season at St. Thomas.
Yes. So Grand Bend, which is the other part of the Spreet family organizations, between the two tracks, St. Thomas and Grand Bend. Brad Talbot taking the Mod ET championship down. Kevin Knight, the top ET championship. I believe that went to the final weekend on that because Kevin couldn't make it to the Fling at Norwalk because he had to go for points. So it worked out for him. Jeff Talbot, Sportsman. Again, I proceeded to saying before all this that you will see the Talbot name multiple times, and I have delivered. Bike sled, Ernie Pavetta with a championship. I believe this is a couple now, not necessarily in a row, but Ernie's been in the bike sled conversation for many years. And then Emma Pignol, 2 championships, 2 tracks, back to no wonder you're seeing her win everywhere because she is winning everywhere. Took down both championships at both tracks, which is quite the feat. Very few people have ever really accomplished the dual championship out of 2 tracks or 2 series. I'm talking to one of them, and Emma would be another one. And I've done it once. There's a very select group. So right there, it's a distinct crowd at that moment of time. But congratulations.
I think especially in a junior.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a lot of commitment for the whole family, right? Like
Absolutely.
That's not just commitment for one person to go race one car and do that, right? But like that's a commitment to do that for both tracks. Now, I'm not saying these tracks aren't 6 hours away from each other, but still, like that's getting after it.
It's essentially 2 tracks that schedule making sure they don't coincide. So if there's 6 points a week, it's 12 points weekends. That again for any of our American friends listening, that may not sound like a lot, but when your season basically runs from Memorial Day, if I'm to reference a U.S. date, our weekends the weekend before that, to essentially only September, Labor Day, that's a lot of weekends in that short span that you got to dedicate your time to for both tracks, plus whatever else you're going to go to, which adds into it. So yeah, huge dedication and commitment to get that done. And they've been doing it for years, and it paid off for Emma, and I believe possibly her final year, but I'm not quite sure. So Yeah, that is the championships. Open comp, Dan Morgan and Kevin Knight, actually with the double up Extreme 32 championship as well. So the key to 2025 apparently was some double up championships if you were following along here.
If you were on, then apparently you were on.
Evidently. Yeah.
That's the way it seems to look. Talking about somebody that's on, we'll rip into some PDRA points. Elite Top Dragster Alan O'Brien with the championship. Our boy Kyle Harris, third place in the Elite Top Dragster points, which is massive, right? Like that, we've talked about that field a whole bunch of times. Talked about all of Kyle's results a bunch of times. Wicked year for him. I know there was a great race. Was it the final weekend that they did? He ran the final against Steve Furr, and I believe that Kyle was like 13 total, going 370, and then Steve Furr was 15 total, also going 370.
Wow.
Like that was wicked, but really cool deal for him. We have the PDRA Pro Stars Points Championship that says Elite Top Dragsters Kyle Harris. Andrew, explain to us the difference between the Points Championship and the Pro Star Points Championship.
So Pro Star is the all-star race.
Okay.
So you compete. It's kind of like the Jigs All-Stars, which we'll get to next, where points are accumulated over a certain span, not necessarily one full season, but over two, back to consistency. So you've got to be consistent over the course of 2 seasons to kind of get eligible to fall in on this. Kyle, I think he's been third championship, third in the 3 seasons consecutively there. Came in and believe drove the Altered to the Top Dragster Pro Star Championship, which again, all-star race. And I think at the same event, Ryan was wheeling the Dragster. That was the first time the two of them have had
I believe
both
so.
elite cars out running too. But yeah, so all-star race. So that all happened, I believe, on the same weekend at the final points race for the PDRA as well as the Pro Stars. So great end of the year. Not the championship he was looking forward to, back-to-back defend, but still, I think they still look at it as a successful year with everything they've accomplished, both in both cars now, and setting up for next year.
Absolutely. Andrew, you want to take us through the Jegs All-Stars as you kind of you led into that a little bit. Let's hit some of that.
Can do. So Jigs All-Stars happened at Dallas this year. I think they did last year as well. Typically, we're a Chicago-based event, so I don't know if they're moving it around or what they're doing. But the portion of it did see some Canadian action. In fact, Top Alcohol Dragster saw 2 Canadians. So the championship was coming back to Canada regardless, turned on the win site. Sean Cowie from Langley, BC, taking on McKenna Bold, who we've had on the show. Talked to McKenna about really her breakthrough season this year. She gets all the way down to the finals in the All-Star race, which in the section being a 3-round race, this is the best of the best, going head-to-head in an all-star format. Great race. Sean leaves with a 56 light. McKenna's a 58, so it's a heads-up on the lead. He's 5:27.1. She's 5:32.0. Chasing them down almost identical mile an hour. Sean gets the win by a small margin. So great victory for Sean. Awesome weekend for McKenna. Super Gas was where the other Canadian factored in. Charlie Knopick made the long trek from, let's just round it off to the Ottawa region area.
Renfrew. Straight from Renfrew.
Yeah, well, does anyone know where Renfrew is outside of the people that are immediately talking in here?
You're honestly right, though.
I'm just saying, I'm rounding it off. But
the Ottawa
Renfrew,
Valley.
Which is
That's it. From the Ottawa Valley. That's it.
Works. I probably just ticked off a few different people from Renfrew in the Ottawa Valley.
It's only Kyle.
Oh, that's fair. One person. I can live with that. But that's a long trek when you're coming down from the Ottawa Valley all the way to Dallas, Texas. Charlie gets into the final. Jim Perry, let's go 003, runs it out 88.0. Charlie, let's go 002 red, 993. So he would have been in some trouble, even at perfect, to try to get down there and get a W. But great weekend for Charlie. Represented Division 1 and Canada fantastically. From the national standpoint, we did have a Canadian in the final and win. Superstock Daryl Stovey, who went down for the All-Stars, did not have a great All-Star, lost in round 1. So he redeems himself completely, as they say in Dumb and Dumber. Abbotsford, BC, 64 Chevelle. So it's a Superstock J automatic. In the final, let's go 007. Rolls down to go 1/0 against the Emmons family, who are a tough out. Doesn't matter which Emmons you run into from the Texas area. All of them are tough out. That beats up a 44 and a 1/6 for the win. Top Alcohol Funny Car. Stan Sipos from Victoria, BC, takes the runner-up against Sean Bellemere. When the Bellemeres, what's their nickname again? The Angry Bees? I don't know. the
Sounds good.
Bellemires and Bartone and all them, they've got a killer hot rod. So to get to the final and at least be leaving with them, he had him on the tree, and then I believe it shook the tires, and that's all Stan could do was pedal it once and hope for the best. But great runner up for Stan. From there, we're working into Vegas, NHRA, to kind of wrap off our last little bit of NHRA racing.
Yeah.
Racers who are going.
It'll be good.
So,
We've already talked to Harry Olson, right? Harry, in the comments, be there Thursday with about 10 other Canadians to cheer on the Canadian racers. So I know Harry and a group follow everybody else, roll down there usually every year, have a big hangout, right? So watch the races, do all the fun stuff around there. So really cool that we got some extra Canadians there, and a lot of folks from the RCSS, a couple folks from Luskville area. So yeah, it'd be really cool. Racers who are going, Cody Levasseur, top in Super Pro. So Cody's found a ride. Mike Konopacki, or spoke about that. Mike Sukravani, which was, I believe you had a bit of a hand, I guess, trying to get a ride out there for Mike to get set up. So we can talk about that.
Yep. Yeah. So Mike was kind of got the invite came along last minute on how to work this all out for him. So Mike needed to get a ride, so we put the call out to every possible person I could think of who had a U.S. residence or some sort of vehicle in the continental USA. Turns out we were able to get Jeff Taylor, who I'm not sure if that's the same Taylor family that runs Super Stock on the West Coast. I think it is, but Mike Sukravani, if you don't know, Mike runs a Pro Stock style S10 truck, and Jeff Taylor has a Pro Stock style S10 truck. That's the truck that Mike gets to wheel in Vegas. So he doesn't exactly, most people when they get to wheel a car, like, I mean, if Cody's got a dragster, dragsters are dragsters, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Usually if you're in a car, you don't often get to get the same car or type of car as what you're leaving behind. And if you're driving a truck, most exceptionally, you don't get that opportunity. Mike is. So Mike's picked up Jeff Taylor's truck. Be a fantastic operation for him to wheel. The Taylor team are great folks, and they stepped up big. And then Dennis Boyko going down in Sportsman. I'm not entirely sure. I'm working off the assumption Dennis may be taking a rental. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's making the drive. He normally drives a street car, so that's the one thing about that. I seen a question come up there. Joe Moreau looking. So the biggest issue was getting the car to Vegas on 5 days' notice.
And in general, right? Like that's a big tour. That's why Cody Levasseur, why he's also renting a ride in a dragster. From us, I believe it's like 45 hours.
Yeah.
And Cody's 5 hours north of me.
50.
So, so give or take 50. So that's why. That's a one-way trip, too. Yeah. So all these guys are making the tour, but would be awesome to take your own stuff out there, because that's a lot. It's a big ask going out in this race. You're going to get, I believe, 2 time runs and jump into round 1. Now, there are 8 cars in your class, so it's a 3-round race. Yep. You need to get lucky once, right? Or just have it all fall together. And, this is a large stage, so it could be really cool, but I've thought about that before. I was getting my hopes up a little bit as to if I could have went, and turn on a couple more win lights. I'm, maybe, but I was getting some ideas rolling around in my head as to, how can I make this work?
That's it.
But
this is not an uncommon thing either, right? With that type of West Coast, like even I think it's the Pro ET Division 2 winner is in on a rent-a-ride. As I look through this, right? And it's not uncommon when you get to the Vegas Pomona stretch, whether it be sportsman or class racing. Like we had Mayer last year in Supergas rent-a-ride a Porsche, leaves a Porsche in the East Coast and finds a Porsche in the West Coast to try to finish his championship. So often Vegas turns into the rent-a-ride program just because of the distance and the, it's in Nevada.
That's it. So, there's nothing else there. We did get a confirmation, Glenn Grow, on the rental ride for Dennis Boyko.
There we go.
And 3 time runs. So there you go. You got 3 time runs to sort your stuff out in a new ride and line up for round 1, right? on a massive stage. So that's really cool. But it's an exciting time. It's a cool opportunity. I'm really excited to see what happens and how it goes. I don't know. I'd like to see some people go down there and turn some win lights on, right? And
Absolutely. Well, we need 3, 6, 9, 12 win lights, and championships all come back to Canada.
yeah, that's it.
Cool part about this too, which is a little bit different. There is a championship involved in this, similar to the Jigs All Stars, where each division, each winner will collect so many points for their division, and there will be a side pot. I think it's like $2,000 to be divided up amongst the team for the winning team. So technically, everyone turns on a couple win lights. Team Canada may get crowned as the points championships in the world runoff.
There you go.
And likely to do that, someone's going to turn on a world title championship.
Yeah.
So, some fun things to watch this weekend coming up.
Absolutely. I have one more hit on Vegas this weekend for a highlight to pay attention to for everybody who is going and watching the race there. Top Dragster, I believe this is the only world championship that, like a national championship or whatever, that a Canadian is in the running for that is not Top Alcohol Dragster. Let me just confirm. Yeah, Sean Cowie's in the lead for Top Alcohol Dragster right now. Not sure how the Top Alcohol's points work out with the nationals versus divisionals for who can collect points where. But in Top Dragster, Casey Plaisir does still have a chance at the World Championship. Listening to some different stuff and kind of learning more NHRA stuff as I go. So a little NHRA points illiterate at this point, but I'm learning. Casey does have a chance at the championship still. I believe that he's going to Vegas and then the Vegas Divisional and then Pomona. I believe will, if that's false, then that is what it is. But I know that they made a big rush at Dallas, right? Went down to Texas and did that. I believe they'll be in Vegas because not just every year do you have an opportunity to win the world in something like this. So something to pay attention to. Good racer from Alberta. Cool dude. Hung out with him. A lot of fun. Him and I got to spend some time together when I went to Edmonton racing a few years ago. So it'd be awesome to see Casey do some damage here. And if anybody is there and you're walking through the pits, you happen to see him around or go looking for him, then tell him that Brandon from Bracket Life sent you over to say hey.
Here you go.
Yeah. So we had some cool. Exactly. Some cool posts also came up that we're going to talk about here. The Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, not something I really follow or was aware of, I guess, right? Just never really thought about it or paid attention to it a little bit. Andrew, I want you to talk to us about 3 drag racing related inductees for 2025.
So to answer the first part, Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame has been a bit of an enigma to the drag racing world in Canada because we haven't cracked it very good. In that, and I'll get into maybe the deep part of it. It's not necessarily been a drag racing friendly organization for us. There's been a lot of great figures, and 3 of these are some that I would say are in the appropriate time period to get in, if not should have been sooner. But regardless, so going in this year though. 3-time IHRA Alcohol Funny Car Champion. That was 3 consecutive titles for him. Rob Atchison heading into the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame, which I think is just a given. 21 IHRA national events, 3 world championships. Was a leader in the class for years, a record holder in the class, led the division for a long, long time, and then even afterwards is still an instrumental part to a lot of people's operations in Ontario and around, as they still do a lot of machine work and work on the cars. Al Billis, if you don't know who Al is, then welcome to being under the rock that you've been in for the last 30 plus years. But Al, a preeminent pro mod driver until some unfortunate injuries took him out of the seat, was a genius tuner, genius crew chief, was fast in nitrous, fast in superchargers. To this day is still a world championship tuner. His shop up in Barrie is still one of the preeminent spots to go get your supercharger or induction system dealt with and worked on. So Al going in. And then former owner and builder of the Rad Torque Raceway, or Castrol Raceway as it was known for many, many years, owner and promoter Rob Reeves, who only just recently sold the facility, I believe in the last year or last year?
I want to say a year. A year.
So Rob getting inducted as well into the Motorsports Hall of Fame, Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. So I would go as far as saying these are 3 fantastic inductees. I would have to go back and review the drag racing portion of the Hall of Fame to kind of formally see how in depth maybe we're starting to get caught up with in as far as coverage. But those 3 most deserving to get in. And if I understood it correct from some impartial conversations, drag racing may get a little more of a bump in the Hall of Fame moving forward, as some of the directors have changed and some of the people looking to lead it may have a little more of a drag racing oriented, view to it. So if you're not in yet, there's still hope now.
That's it. Watch us rush it now, right? Just drag racers going to take over the whole place.
Exactly. I'd be fine with that. Doesn't bother me one iota.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, this is a cool little thing that kind of popped up on our feed just an hour before we came on here. So neat to do. There we go. Kyle Harris throwing this in there. Bob Atchison was inducted 10 years ago. So father and son are now in there. We just spoke about that father and son were inducted into the Canadian Drag Race Hall of Fame. I believe that was last year. So yeah, pretty neat deal. I just brought this up on the screen, kind of going through some different stuff, and yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to go through and actually see how many drag racers are in that, other than that. But yeah, neat stuff. You learn something new every day.
There you go. Right?
Yeah. All right, Andrew. We will do some end of season review. You and I go over some fun stuff, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly. You had quite a year. You were on tour for the, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, but, so let's say till August. I believe you only raced in Ohio. Might even been longer than that, but that's at least what it felt like. But
yes, exactly.
Yeah, but a lot of rounds, a lot of miles on the rig, a lot of new experiences for you. What do you, I don't know, how do you feel about your 2025 year? How do you feel about your schedule and the races that you picked? And how do you feel about your results that you got there?
Well, to kick it off, we talk about the miles. So I have a main odometer I keep on the truck, and we turned 10,200 miles and change. And that was like 208 hours in the seat, driving around from track to track. So at one point, that number seems small. At another point, that's 208 hours of productivity just in a truck behind a window.
Yeah.
Which for our friends in Alberta is going to be like, wow, that's a regular Saturday for me, but whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was a great year. The outset was, and I've kind of had this 3-year plan in my head that we're going to go kind of on tour and hit up bigger money events through that, say, Northeast, North Central. I'm not sure what you call the area I racing. It's always so difficult to ascertain it. But that here, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, New York, Ontario, Quebec, area. Obviously, we extended it to Virginia and North Carolina to finish the season off. The goal was to hang better with the crowd that's going around. Last year was a steep learning curve on how to survive 15-hour days, or how to survive 8.5-hour days that needed to be 15-hour days. What I need to do on the cars, and I think we made a bunch of changes to the cars this year that made them more consistent, calmed them down to the 60. So when we went from iffy, cold, like Dragway 42, the first ACE event, that is the coldest I think I've ever been at a racetrack. And that is probably one of the coldest tracks I've been on. And that's the dude from Canada, for the Americans who are listening. Looking at this, it was freezing. The cars worked. Like, they worked fantastic. Conversely, we went to some of the hottest tracks I'd been to, which was Columbus, another 42 race. We were 96 to 102, depending on the time of day, ambient. And just the cars worked fantastic. Now, I necessarily didn't survive the heat as well. Back to, evidently, the extra insulation I carry around is not what I need. So that's one of the projects this winter, is to deal with that. But overall, we were hanging there. We'd go up there and we could make runs and hang with anyone. We didn't worry about who we were lined up against. That enigma that you had years ago where, oh my God, there's Datus or there's Underwood or, pick anyone that you want. We've had a very lucky chance racing against them. It became less of, I need to make the run of the day for myself to just make the run you made last round. And if all goes right for you, you're going to turn on win light because it's been making good laps. If it doesn't, lay the best lap you can down. And if it comes up short, okay. We were making great laps. And I think the biggest thing we ran into is just, I couldn't pull in the lanes to save my life some days, right? You'd make a great lap and everything in front of you and everything behind you would have won that lap. And you pulled against the one person who didn't. You couldn't beat, right? They're just, so fun experience. Hit the payout window more regularly, not necessarily for the big hits. Napierville being the one spot that I can say otherwise, managed to hit the pay window on the right side of that twice this year in both cars, which in itself was great because that was the other goal was I run generally 2 cars. And the Mustang had, as I may have indicated on here a couple times, but at least behind the scenes, was almost sold about a dozen times by this point last year, I think, because of frustrations with it. Got it sorted to the point where I had 2 cars that I feel like I could jump in and win with. One just going 540s, 550s, moving it up in the door car side, and one going, 620s that I wanted to live beside the dragsters. I want to make their lives as miserable as possible at the finish line because I had a car that I could dial, and as long as I executed, it was going to do good. So overall, great year. I think I left the year finally getting comfortable, like letting go. I had a string of 2 weekends there where, it was almost, I would say, unconscious on the tree. Like it was just somewhere I've never been before. And the reality was the confidence that comes from saying, okay, I can do more than just string 4 good lights together. I can string 8, 9, 10 or more and be double and make those small stupid adjustments where it's like, I'm going to move 2 thou out. I'm going to put 2 thou in. Again, not smart moves, but moves that when you do it, all of a sudden you go from 4 to 6. You're like, okay, I added 2. I went up 2. Next lap, you let go 7. I let go the same. Next lap, you add 2 more and you're 7 or 8. Like, that is a tough place to be, but it's a high level of confidence that when you go up there, back to, it doesn't matter who you line up against. I have confidence I can let go, and the cars being as good as they are, let's just let go and make good decisions. And, goal being next year, make some more improvements and, take that knowledge from this year and move on. So would I like to have turned on a couple more final win lights? I don't think there's a person I know that wouldn't take that. But I would also suggest we had a really good year.
Yeah, that's great. It was fun to kind of keep up with everything that you were doing. I really I couldn't keep up with it. Right, all of a sudden I see a post, and I'm like, oh Jesus, where's Andrew now? I'm like people are asking me like where's Andrew racing? What's he doing? I'm like, I don't know. He's in Ohio, man. I don't know. Get off my back. I don't know what to tell you.
He's here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Didn't matter where you were or what you were doing. That's what I just told everybody. If anybody asks, I don't know. He's in Ohio. I don't know. That's all I know.
Not wrong. Not wrong at all.
But it was cool, right? It's fun. And it's things that I wish I'd love to do in the future, right? Moving forward or at some point, right? We're in different parts of our lives and things like that. So you've set it up to have that opportunity to go do it. And then, Ted Barnes going with you a bunch too, right? Like, good for you guys, right? Like, to go do it and have fun and commit to it for a year and don't, almost 2 years, right? Full of going like that, but don't be scared of it, right? And don't, go get your head kicked in a few times and whatever, just figure that out and then come back for more and then figure, how do I combat this? What do I need to do to get better? And remember we talked about the long days before, and then how to recover, not even just say Friday is long, but then, okay, so how do we recover so Saturday we can still do good, right? Or do anything. So a lot of great learning experiences, I'm sure. What do you think is the big thing you want to do, or one thing you want to do for 2026 moving forward? If you were to run the same schedule again, what's something that you would change or be more prepared for?
So I think That's a great one on the spot here because I haven't quite got to that point yet of what does 2026 what is the things I've learned from 25 to go to 26, but
Yeah.
I think this is going to sound pretty trivial to be honest with you, but there's maybe two parts. One, I'm going to make some combination changes based on what I've watched all year from watching some of the fuel. I'm not a big methanol guy. I know it's one of the rare things that you and I don't see eye on. You run a lot of methanol stuff. It's for washing parts to me. I'm not running race cars. I say that carefully as I have methanol right, my sales. But I'm intrigued by the oxygenated fuels to the point that like I've got a gas combo that does things that it kind of shouldn't do for consistency. But being in the lanes and around a lot of the cars that are going rounds and over big weather swings, that's the key one. That oxygenated fuel really seems to hold down the fort as far as curving that prediction. It's not as hard. It's easier to predict it, maybe I should say, than the gas. And if you get the right gas combo, it's not too bad. And I would suggest I've got setups that are great. That stuff seems to be a big game changer there. As far as anything different, and I know this is going to sound stupid, I don't know how many people do the late night drives to racetracks or just how you go to a track, but I made a fundamental switch up because I was suffering with the drive all night, leave work Thursday night or Wednesday night, as I'm sure we've all done many, many times to get to the track for the next morning. Late drive, miss dinner, you get in late, you get a half-hearted sleep because either you're in late or you're wound, right? Depending on how far you've gone. It's an 8 a.m. morning. You got to get in the gate at 7. As stupid as this sounds, I am done driving through the night. I would just as soon wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, drive 7.5 hours and get to the place. And again, it's all about what works for you. But I got to the point where I waste the first day of a race just by trying to do that last minute, trying to save some vacation time. Not leave the people at my shop up in the air until I leave again for the 14th straight week, right? So try to cut it back. And what I learned from this is I can't do that. I suck that day, the day you get there, like through the night. I shut her down early. I try to get up and ready for Saturday, or day number 2, whichever it is for that race. Now you're working from behind because your confidence level's a little low. You didn't do well. It's kind of, not that you can't recover, but it's hard if you work higher off your confidence level. Waking up earlier after going to bed and having that just long day seems to be a completely different approach. And I can walk in now and feel like I can be successful on day 1. And even if it's not a long day, I'm not working off 3 or 4 hours sleep, 5 hours poorly, right? And I know it sounds really stupid and fundamental, but it's just a matter of finding out what works better. The tried traditional drive through the night scenario that I've listened to so many of the guys I watched race grow up, and even guys like you and I that talk about now, that don't work for me. And it was just a stumble across thing when I came out to Napierville on a last minute drive where I said, now I'm going to wake up really early and leave versus try to drive through the night and be there haggard. And all of a sudden it changed my weekend. Like now we're not working from behind early. We're working from a spot of success, right? So I know those are not the things probably that, most are looking to hear and just they seem antiquated or, a little bit, odd, but they made a big difference in how I showed up to a racetrack that day number 1. And that fuel change is something that just, you can only look around so much and see a very consistent theme to the non-methanol cars and privy to my own dyno, right? When we tested on stuff, right? And go, there's something here, I think. So anyway.
So we're hitting just to wrap my head around it and for everybody else that is paying attention. So we're starting Friday, 8 a.m. When are you leaving for the racetrack?
I'll leave it. How long a drive is it?
6 hours.
Yeah, I'm leaving it to 1:30 in the morning.
Nice.
Be in
Good
bed
for you.
8 o'clock. I don't. It sounds weird backwards.
Hey, man, that's cool. If it works for you, it's a different idea, right?
Yeah. So little things like that, just stuff that changes the dynamic of how you get to day number 1, right? Day 0, as they talk about in some of the drag and drive stuff, right? How do you work day 0 so that day 1 is not a cluster for you?
Yeah.
I know lots of folks who could do the all-night drive and get there. But anyway, that's kind of how we're going to look at the schedule. That's how we're going to look at a bunch of different things is, just different. I mean, Ace races at Dragway 42 are 6-hour drives. I'll probably still leave at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, be there for midnight because whatever. But if you got 7 hours like I do in Montreal, yeah, I know that 1 hour is weird, but it's different angle. We'll take it from a different way, right? So those
Yeah,
are the things.
and you avoid traffic, right? Yeah, but no, there's a lot of traffic that you avoid and a lot of factors that go into that at the same hand. So interesting idea.
Yeah, little things. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
cool part for switches the conversation up there. We alluded this in the super comp racing, so I'd love to pick on that because we talk a lot about bracket racing on here, as is the Bracket Life name.
Yes,
But
indeed.
you had your first taste of NHRA racing, super comp specifically. Maybe let's focus on that for a minute because I think that's the one I really want to dive into here. So, what was your takeaway from your season? Your inaugural season, turning a throttle stop on and trying to go 570 and 890.
Yeah. Well, first of all, quarter mile is way cooler than I remember. I hadn't raced quarter mile in 10 years was last time. So, a lot of fun to get back into it, go down the racetrack really fast again. I don't know. I got the argument of, oh, well, it's just another like 30 or 40 miles an hour, right? We're doing 140, 145 in the eighth. And then on the stop, I was doing 175, 176, so we're a good 30 miles an hour. But I'm like, you made that first run. I'm like, that 30 miles an hour is fast.
Yeah.
Right. And you're hanging out there. I'm like, it's fast and it's cool. So that's a lot of fun. I knew that on my first time run. I came back and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. Secondhand, to stick with more quarter mile stuff, because as I learned most, what you can do on the quarter mile in that time is like, there's just so many more options. Now, I'm not saying I'm going out and reinventing the wheel by any means, but there were a lot of different skills that I took from eighth mile racing that translated over a little bit, but you needed to be more exaggerated on the quarter mile to make any difference. So huge learning curve that way. I've always been a math guy. Love that stuff. Love the idea of it. Love the calculations and things like that. So that also played right into what I really enjoyed. Writing everything down, making a bunch of sheets, keeping. Obviously, I have my logbook that I write everything down in, but I had an online logbook that I made just on Google Sheets and put my own stuff together, so it had all my calculations right away, and I could estimate kind of where I wanted to be next. Figure out a throttle stop ratio that everybody who's ran stops before, right? They know about this stuff, but something new to me to learn. So really just something like a new challenge in the race car, not just doing the same thing a million times, right? Which there's no problem with it, right? I love bracket racing and will always keep doing that, but really cool perspective on the racetrack to see. Different challenge to actually make your race car do something else. Kind of something that you talked about with the gas stuff versus methanol. Like, I just always ran methanol because that's just what's always came in the race cars that we had. So like we never had one on gas and switched over or vice versa, right? So it's just always been that way. And when you bracket race, right? Okay, it's going to run when it's going to run, and we'll figure that out. But with this stuff, where you're for the first time in my racing career, you're trying to actually manipulate the race car. I see more of the pros for gas in that situation. I know, like, you and I spoke a lot as I was leaning on you a little bit for some setup stuff. There's not a whole lot of people in my circle that have done the 90 stuff before. So then I was leaning on you for a lot of kind of info. And as we were looking, like the last weekend in Naperville, the trends or setting up my car, it wasn't running what we thought it should run. Whether it was weather or just the alcohol stuff, I have no idea, right? But there's just so much more in the tuning aspect that needs to be addressed that I really lack. It is what it is, right? I lack those skills at this moment because I've never needed to do it, right? Like, as long as the car went down the racetrack, we could figure out what it was going to run and make it go a certain number, right? Like, that's the great part about bracket racing. But yeah, for the whole new side of it, really a big learning curve for me, and opened a whole new door for things to worry about. Right, I've talked with Mike about with different tuning things and stuff like that, and I'm like, things I can change or make this better or more efficient. And he's like, well, yeah, but like you could do all this stuff, but you just need the car to repeat. And I'm like, so we never really made those changes because we didn't need to be 100% perfect or worry about what it's going to do Saturday versus Sunday, as much as we do now. So, yeah, like I said, opens up a whole new door into the whole world of tuning for me. So that's kind of the most exciting part, I guess, for myself. And like I said, just to race new people, have new strategies, and race against more people that have a different strategy against you. Not everybody's just out, just driving dead on because quarter mile and on the throttle stop, the car's just not going to be as consistent as it is in an 8th mile bracket race where we're both wide open. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you pointed out it's a huge learning curve. I mean, that's always been the fun of it. I know it's a class that is like watching paint dry if you're watching it for many people.
Yeah.
Me, love it, grew up on it. Hey, everyone's got a thing. That's like there's Montreal Canadiens fans out there. No one knows why, but they exist, right? That's class racing.
Yeah.
Everyone has something that they love. But it is hard to make it do what it's unnatural to want to do, right? And that's just the nature of the class. You can still build a car that goes 870 and use a bolt and slow it down to go 890. It still exists. There's people who still do that. There's West Coast people that use the slow car approach, right?
I believe somebody in Vegas or in Texas just did that. Somebody in Supergas. Was it Supergas in Texas?
There was
a top end stop
line.
Yeah.
That was, I think, what look at the post that was online. I think that was St. Louis, and it was it might have been a different year. I caught that too, but it was like a stick car with a top end throttle stop, right? It just the way it came across looked like it was fresh. It's not that old, but stick car with a top end throttle stop, winning super gas. It was a glorified super stalker, but going at 101 mile an hour. So there's lots of ways to kind of skin this cat. The most easily obtained is 890 at 170 plus mile an hour type setup, right? But the challenge, there's not a lot of classes left in racing where the mechanical aspect of it is still I think like an overall challenge, right? In the sense of, in drag racing, you can buy all the power you want now, pretty much anywhere. I mean, just my recent trip down to North Carolina, engine mecca of the world down there. There's cars that look like my Mustang, which are 6-second cars up here, going like 520s because 632. Why not? Okay, like where is that? I just bought it off this guy who bought it off this guy. Like it's probably 5 seasons old and loose as hell, but it still goes 520s because it's a 632, and we jammed it in the car because we only run 8th mile, and away we go. That's one aspect. When you get into stop racing, it is a very difficult world to make the thing do what it wants to do rerun, which is try to make it go 890 something. So it's a challenge, and I'm glad it's fun. If you ever had a chance to do it, you've experienced, it's a challenge if you really enjoy trying something difficult, finding different ways to do it, finding what your car likes, because now the days of trying to build your own power, it's cheaper to just go buy something. The days of trying to refine horsepower, call up the internet. You're going to find 10 times more things for 5 times less effort on your own end.
Absolutely.
Sitting at home grinding stuff away. But throttle stop racing is still a unique aspect to it, right? Super stock beat, but the only other thing in comp, right, as the whole make your own destiny type thing. Even pro stock now, you want to be competitive, you just buy a car and lease an engine.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Not a whole lot of your ideas going into it.
Not generally, no. Right. I mean, maybe still, but not legally. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so that was overall the big thing for me for Super Comp, right, that I really enjoyed. I'm looking forward to hopefully doing a bunch of it next year, or at least more. As we all know, that it's tougher to get into in this area, right? There's not a whole lot of options for that, so we'll see what happens, and yeah, go from there. But it was a blast, and the pro tree was also a lot of fun too. That's a
That is
different
my
whole
one, too.
part of it, right? So really cool to get into, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, can't wait to get into it for 2026. So that's about that for tonight, Andrew. I know you got some stuff to wrap up. Hit us with it.
Yeah, so shout out to our buddies at Going. I believe I saw them rolling on here earlier.
Yeah.
They had, I think, door car race at the Fling down to 4. Can't remember which one of the boys is on it, but they jump on our show, say hi, give credit where credit's due. If you ever need to see something, go to Going Bracket Racing on Facebook. Lots of polls and videos on there. Just be reciprocal to those who jump up on our stuff as well.
They got a lot of great
Great
questions
talking
they
to them.
put out.
Yes.
Yeah, they always a lot of great
Well,
questions and a lot of great conversation starters.
That's the one, just the most recent one I just saw here. Like, will IHRA and PDRA compete for drivers next season? If you hadn't paid attention, PDRA announced that they are going to run. A lot of rumors, particularly when I was literally just down in the PDRA home, which was Virginia Motorsports Park. Franklin family owns Motorsports Park, PDRA, and our racers in it. A lot of questions down there just a couple weeks ago about whether the PDRA was going to exist in 2026. Now they are. Now you got the IHRA and the PDRA going head to head over not a lot of racers if you really look at the overall scheme. But anyway, Going Bracket Racing folks, shout out to them as well. I'm not sure if we covered this, and I feel bad. IHRA at Hebron, or not Hebron, IHRA at Dragway 42. Mercier with the W. Can't remember if we
I don't
talked
know.
about that.
It's a good call.
I noticed that Mercier pulling out going to Vegas. They left, I don't know, last week. God, it feels like it was forever ago. Watch both those trucks roll. That could be a hell of a drive with 2 rigs heading to Vegas. But the IHRA conversation, I'd like to pin that maybe for another episode coming up here, because depending on when we do our next episode here, which we get to in the end, might be before PRI, and that is as silly season gets.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely, we should have at least one. We'll have one more show before PRI, and we'll see. We'll see how the conversation goes, and maybe we'll squeak another one in. But never know.
But we'll maybe throw IHRA in there as a conversation point, since there's so many Canadians who've won at them. Mercier, Lozon family has done very well in stock, super stock down through there. We've had some Canadians starting to follow it, and a lot more that are putting it on the calendar for next year, me included. Back to I love stop racing, and I have cars that can do it, and I have an addiction that won't stop. All the things.
That's it. No problem with that. But
yeah,
see what happens. But all right, guys. Well, thank you all very much. We had a huge turnout for this week. We kind of spoke about it at the start of it. We weren't sure how many viewers we were going to get with the Blue Jay game going on, but maybe after last night watching it for 6 or 7 hours, then you just needed a little bit of racing talk to get back into it. So for anybody who is switching over to the Blue Jays, bottom of the third, Blue Jays currently are leading the Dodgers 2-1. So yeah, cool deal. Great for them. Go Blue Jays in the World Series. Good luck to all the folks heading to Vegas. And good luck to Casey Plaisir as he chases his Top Dragster World Championship. Would love to see Casey do that. Would love to have Casey on when he's the world champion. See what happens. Or any of the racers, any of the world champions, if we do happen to get one coming out of Vegas, that'd be really cool to have them on the show as well. We'll see what happens. Good luck to everyone. Have a lot of fun. We will see you all in November. And yeah, other than that, I'm just going to sit here and dream about drag racing.
Well, that's fair, sir.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's it. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. Thank you to Pro1Safety.ca. Don't forget, as you head into this offseason, want to make some upgrades, make sure you keep Pro1.ca, Pro1Safety.ca on your list for any of your safety upgrades. We'll talk to you guys all soon, and yeah, see you in November.
We'll see you then.
Canadian racers, make sure your next set of seatbelts and racing suit are from Pro1Safety.ca. Pro1 Racing and Safety Products offer high-quality products made in the USA and now distributed in Canada. Pro1 Canada offers seatbelts, racing suits, helmets, and all sorts of safety accessories for drag racers. See for yourself why NHRA sportsmen world champions such as Bo Butner, Jeff Strickland, the Emmons brothers, Austin Williams, and many more rely on Pro1 Racing and Safety Products. Join the winners. Choose Pro1. Buy high-quality American-made products from your Canadian wholesale distributor at Pro1Safety.ca.